Okay, so it's been about a month with the Action 6. I've done a lot of tests comparing it to the Action 5 Pro, Pocket 3, and today I want to share with you my final thoughts on this camera and whether it's worth upgrading from the Action 5 Pro. I am mainly going to focus on the headline video features just to make this video, this review, as reasonable as possible. So let's start with 8K. DJI has released a couple of weeks ago an 8K firmware update for this camera. I'm actually using 8K right now, and I've done a comparison to the Action 5 Pro in 4K versus 8K on this camera, and the Action 5 Pro still looked more detailed than the 8K footage on the Action 6, and also to my eyes the 4K image on the Action 6 looked more detailed than the 8K image, except maybe the background, the background elements. Like right now maybe I look a bit softer than the background. If you care about this, maybe 8K is worth it, but I think the 5 Pro still delivers a more detailed image than the 8K footage in here. And by the way, if you are going to shoot an 8K on this camera, I would highly recommend setting the noise reduction and texture to -2, because the noise reduction algorithm on this camera in 8K is pretty bad. If you do need to reduce the noise, I would highly recommend doing it in post-production with something like DaVinci Resolve. So overall, I don't think the 8K feature on this camera is worthy of an upgrade from the 5 Pro. All right, next, let's talk about Open Gate. This feature basically allows you to film with the entire area of the sensor, like I'm doing right now. So you can recrop one shot basically for vertical and landscape orientation, so you don't have to shoot the clip twice. You can shoot it once with this aspect ratio and then recrop it to vertical and landscape. Personally, for me, it's not really a big deal because I don't really do vertical videos. If you do, this is definitely going to be worth it because you can shoot just one shot and recrop for vertical and landscape. But honestly, the field of view on action cameras is already so wide, you can always recrop it really easily. Yes, you get more height with this aspect ratio, but even with Action 5 Pro, when you shoot an ultra wide, you can easily recrop this to like vertical and landscape at the same time. For me personally, this is a gimmicky feature. It is nice to have. All cameras in the industry right now pretty much have this feature except Sony, but it's not really like a game-changing feature, if you will. All right, and finally, let's talk about the variable aperture, which is my favorite feature of the Action 6. This feature basically allows you to, one, better control the exposure. So instead of using like shutter speed, ISO, or your ND, you can also use the aperture to control your exposure. The range is not really that wide. It goes from f2.5 to f4. I wish it was a bit wider. For example, something like f2.5 to f8 would have been a bit better. And also, if you stop down to like f4 and you backlight your subject, you get these beautiful sun stars, which is pretty nice because it makes this camera look a bit more professional, a bit more like a cinema camera or like a mirrorless camera, if you will. But again, I don't think this feature is revolutionary. It's not really a game-changing feature. It is really nice, but it's not something that makes this camera so worthwhile to upgrade from the Action 5 Pro. All right, so to summarize, those are the main new video features of the Action 6: 8K, Open Gate, and variable aperture. 8K is kind of gimmicky because the 4K image on the Action 5 Pro, and 6, to my eyes, looks more detailed. Maybe the background in 8K is a bit sharper than in 4K, but it's a really minor difference, and 8K takes more space, is harder to process in post-production, and the difference in terms of like overall sharpness is not that drastic. Next, Open Gate is kind of nice if you want to shoot one clip and easily reframe in post-production for vertical and landscape orientations, but for me it's kind of gimmicky. I never once even used the Open Gate feature on this camera. If you do shoot like TikTok and YouTube at the same time, maybe it's going to be a good reason for you to upgrade. And finally, the variable aperture is kind of nice. It gives you another way to manually control your exposure. And also, if you backlight your subject and you stop down to like f4, you're gonna get these beautiful sun stars in the background basically. But it's a really minor upgrade in my personal opinion, and it's not, a big enough reason to go and run an upgrade from the Action 5 Pro. And in fact, like I said many times before, I actually prefer how more detailed the image is on the Action 5 Pro compared to the Action 6. And also, if you do consider upgrading from the 5 Pro to the 6, just keep in mind that if you use accessories like a cage and a filter, you're gonna have to buy brand new ones for the 6 because the form factor is different, meaning you need to spend more money and then the image quality is not better, and actually to my eyes it is slightly worse because it is not as detailed as the Action 5 Pro. And if you're coming from the Action 4, I would just say buy the Action 5 Pro on the second-hand market, get a good deal, and it's going to deliver 90% of the results of the Action 6 basically. So long story short, I don't think it's worth upgrading from the Action 5 Pro to the Action 6. You let me know down below what you think. I'm also going to leave links down below for the 5 Pro and 6 if you want to support this channel. And I've actually seen some rumors that DJI might release an Action 6 Pro with actual pro features compared to this camera. Let's see if that's going to be true or not. Hopefully they'll give us proper D-Log and not D-Log M to increase the dynamic range performance and the flexibility when color grading in post-production. Hopefully also a bigger sensor and maybe the ability to manually control the focus. So yeah, you let me know down below what you think, and I guess I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye and thanks for watching.